All right, welcome to episode 172 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Powers, and joining me once again this week, we have returning fan favorite, Steven.
I'm back.
Chase, our guy from Down Under.
Good day.
And Rachel, who I'll probably be fighting with today.
Yes, maybe. We'll see.
It's going to be violent.
Well, I mean, the problem is basically solved now, so I'm less irritated.
In a very roundabout way. It's kind of funny.
Very roundabout way, but we'll get to that.
Good
we'll get to that.
Good timing on Caleb's part.
Yes.
So we're going to go and jump into what we've been doing, and I'm actually going to start us off this week because so I almost twice now got the Capcom Fighting Collection 2. I had it in my hand. I went up to Best Buy's front to go buy it. They had a bunch of them out in the store. For them to turn around and go, oh yeah, we're not supposed to have these out. It doesn't come out until the 16th, and wouldn't let me buy it. And I was like, but you have a whole display back there. You were talking about it. You were selling them. So didn't get it. It was like, all right, whatever. We had to go back.
You just got the wrong employee.
Well, the system wouldn't let him do it by his fact. The system wouldn't let him do it anyways. So, and then he tried to say, well, you could have gotten it today if you had pre-ordered it. And I called bullshit on that. I was like, no, that's not how that works for these. So I went back today because we had to buy a washing machine because ours died. The bearings broke. So that washing machine is done. So we have a new one coming. I'll get it next week when I return. But once again, right back on the shelf were the copies of the game. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me?
They're at this point, they're just stupid.
So I picked it up and I walked over and one of the managers walking around and said, here you go. I'm just going to go and cut to the chase and give you this. You're not supposed to have it on the floor. He kind of looked at me and was like, I tried to buy it yesterday and y'all said no. So if you don't want people buying it, maybe put it away. So yeah, Best Buy's really bad about putting games out early. That is the third time that's happened with me, both with like Lego sets they had for sale. And it's not even stuff like I'm going to find. We're just there and I'm like, oh, that's neat. I'm going to get this. Oh, you can't buy that. So, all right. Beyond that, though, I have been playing Resident Evil Revelations on the Switch. It's one of the games I ended up borrowing from Jeremy on some of the stuff. Hold on a second. I found something in here. Let me pause. Well, actually, I'm just going to kill it. Hold on. All right. Some large ant. Don't know what the hell that was, but it had wings, and I don't want it alive.
Oh, sometimes ants have wings.
Yeah, never a good sign. That's usually colonization. So I'm like, nope. All right. But yeah, Resident Evil Revelations. I had not played that in a while, and I forgot it does play really well on the Switch. I've been playing Fortnite Star Wars with Jeremiah yesterday. Apparently there's a whole thing where you can watch episodes of the cartoon while you're in this arena and you're shooting waves upon waves of stormtroopers trying to get your combos up. It was kind of ridiculous, but I had fun. But I spent most of the week in Phoenix. I'm still traveling for work. And even tomorrow, before this show even comes out, I will be on a plane a couple of hours earlier on my way to Nevada because my coworker believes in early flights and he's a monster.
I noticed how you said Nevada.
Yeah, Nevada.
Yeah, some people say Nevada.
Yeah, I've already got into this fight. Yeah, I've already gotten into this fight with some of the old crew. I don't want to get into it again. Some people say it one way, some people say the other.
You know, it happens.
That's okay. We like having linguistic talks on here.
Either way.
We have direct about linguistics.
We really should.
You're just like picking on me.
No, remember we all pick on each other. You, me, and Steven went at it for like 20 minutes on one episode about how to pronounce words.
That was fantastic. I'm still waiting on that supercut Steven keeps threatening me with of me mispronouncing things. Yeah. And lastly, I work at GameStop again, kinda. So apparently the local GameStop, actually any of the GameStops, have to hire people because they're down to pretty much a skeleton crew. They just have like key holders and the manager, but they have to have a certain amount of people for the Switch 2 launch next month. So they're being required to hire at least one month seasonal person to just be there. And they asked me about it. It's like, yeah, you don't care if you don't get hours, which is like, I don't. I have a good job. I'm traveling. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. But he did tell me I get the full discount on everything except for, of course, the system. And I was like, sold, because I bought a lot of shit. So I'm saving like well over $100 or more on that. So that's kind of the funny. I'm back in GameStop for 1 month. I did tell them I'm not ringing anybody up. I'm not even going to bother relearning the system. I'm going to clock in, clock out, and be done with it.
You know what you're going to be?
What?
Line control.
That's fine. I could be a bouncer for GameStop.
Back for a limited time, Jeremy at GameStop.
Yeah.
You could be my bodyguard. You could be my long-lost pal.
Limited time magic. That's what I say anytime I'm in places that I'm normally not at work.
Well, they popped up going like, well, he's just coming back to use the discount. I said, no. I'm coming back to abuse the discount. I'm going to take all advantage I can and spend an ungodly amount of money getting things that I wouldn't have to pay as much for.
Well, at least you're being honest. And you know who would have laughed at that?
Who?
George.
I haven't told George yet. He probably will laugh. They tried telling John, my friend John, that you know.
Oh, yes.
And he immediately went, he's coming back for the discount. And he's like, yeah, John knows me. That's exactly what's going on.
That's exactly what it is, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we'll move on from that. Steven, what about you? What have you been doing lately?
I've been traveling a little bit, not by choice. But other than that, played ZZZ still when I got home. I did miss a couple of days of that. I had Chris continue Expedition 33. I'm playing that by osmosis, and then I'm going to play it because I'm trying not to backseat, but I'm just like biting my nails as he plays through it. A good thing that helped me during my flights was the Neo Geo selections. I have 1 through 4, and now they just announced 5 and 6. It's
a good
really?
Way to
get all those Neo Geo games physically because it's just a nice little encased menu of them. So those were good because I got to play all the different fighting games, arcade games, something to keep you busy. I finished, ? Blueprints. I finally got room 46, and that's when the game really opens up. It's no spoilers, Rachel, you're fine. That's where the game really opens up because even though you've technically finished it, you should keep playing it because then you keep finding out new stuff. So if you're interested in kind of completing your lore or getting every room or finding every key, you should play past the ending.
That is what I've been told. I remember playing. So here's something funny about Blueprints. I played the demo, right? I played the demo and I was talking about it in another Discord that I'm in, and everyone's like, whatever. And now, you know what really ticks me off? It really grinds my gears. All of them are playing it. All of them are playing it and talking about it to each other when they didn't want to hear me say a damn thing when I was playing the demo when it came out during like Next Fest or however long ago that was, like last year. So I'm just like, oh, screw you guys.
Rachel's dangerously ahead of their time.
I was playing this first. But no, finished with a question mark is very apt.
I have to ask though, have you gotten to a room where it tells you what the current date is?
So I have not had the chance to play its full release yet because by the time I get home, I don't want to play any games. I'm in the middle of moving into the master bedroom. I'm already mostly in there in my house, but I pick one like thing to do in there like each day. So if I get home at like 5:00, I spend like an hour doing that. I just want to just vibe. I don't want to like play a game. I just want to watch a movie or eat dinner or something like that. So I have not yet had the chance to. Now, once I'm finished with that, I will play it because I have it on Steam.
Okay,
but I will.
The only thing I will say is once you know the date in the game, not in real life, keep a running tally of your days because holidays matter.
Very interesting.
I didn't know that, and it doesn't work with the in-game clock. It works with the game date. So if you're on a particular holiday, rooms can change, which I had no idea.
Here's what I want to know, though. Which holiday calendar does it follow?
And I was just like, holy cow. Well, you go in on a certain day. You get a letter saying, hey, today's blah, blah, blah is your first day.
Right.
In the mansion, in the manor. And then from there, each time you call it a day, remember what day it is because you want to look around on holidays. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, which holidays do they kind of follow? Like, is it like a Christmas, Easter type thing, or are they doing
to give you
Hanukkah,
an idea,
Passover, and stuff like?
To give you an idea, I think you get there in like early November.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
I have
I've
no
never
idea
played
about,
it, so I was just
no
curious.
idea about Thanksgiving. But after that, I accidentally fell upon Christmas.
Christmas.
So.
Okay. Gotcha.
So circling back to Expedition 33, and you told me some very interesting information that I shared on my stream because I'm streaming that game. But I happen upon some interesting information. Did you know that it's inspired by a French book? I don't have the name of it right now because I would horribly mispronounce it, and I'm not going to do that. But it's based on like a French novel, and apparently this French novel is so French that it is untranslatable.
Sacre bleu.
Yeah. So I just wanted to share that.
Yep.
That it's loosely inspired on a French novel, like a lot of the thematic elements in it. So I thought that was very interesting, and I wanted to share it with you.
Yeah, they just patched the game because one of the characters could do 2 billion damage, so they were like, "We have to fix
Mael, yes, yes.
We still want
I haven't
you to
played
break
this
the
yet.
game, they said, but they said not like that.
So the reason why that happens is she goes into different like stances as she fights based on what ability she has, and if you get like the virtuous stance at the right time. I haven't played
any of this yet, so I'm not sure what's what.
Well, just so you know, if you get like supposedly before they nerfed her, if you got like the virtuous stance, you had a certain weapon and you did a very certain attack while in that stance, you could do like 2 billion damage on enemies. But like you could still do a lot, like thousands, hundreds of thousands of damage. But some of the enemies need that because this doesn't spoil anything. But when this is a little bit of a group chat here.
I was about to say, were you guys going to do it in a group chat so you can finish this stuff?
He started talking about it, so we're just going to do this now.
Well, okay.
And so we but on stream I wandered into this cave that said danger, and I said, oh well, this is the direction I'm supposed to go in, and this looks like coral, so I'm going to go in there. And I go in the cave and I see like glowing pearlescent sheep and rabbits. And I went, oh, this is interesting. And then I go and I fight this I encounter this enemy that has sheep fur on it. It's glowing pearlescent. It one hit KOs me with like 2,000 damage, and I only have like 200 hit points. And I was like, oh no, I'm just gonna leave this cave now. Bye-bye.
Somebody did beat that one early, but you have to parry for 2 hours.
No, thank you. I'll pass.
And then other than that, I know what Nintendo is trying to do, and I do love them for doing it, but I do have a sore spot now for the virtual game cards.
I'm so curious about this because I still don't understand what you don't like about it, but go ahead.
It's because you like it, Jeremy.
I can understand lending out games. I can understand all of that. But for them to do it to the apps was a big mistake.
I don't think they could pick and choose.
Tied to the account.
Yeah.
But it got to a point where they didn't really mention that. I just found out the hard way because I was trying to, show a movie to my father, and I was like, oh, look, I can't watch this movie. So I luckily had to call Chris, tell him to go to my other Switch, primary that one, so it's no longer the primary console, and then make mine the primary, and then just say like, I'm just going to re-download it, and it was fine, and it finally worked. But you shouldn't be having to lend out your apps. So it's something that everybody can download for free. So it didn't make any sense. Just, other than preferences being saved to your Gmail, I think that's something that should be patched because it was a major thorn in my side when it happened. So just be careful. Once anybody has updated their systems, do all the one-time things with your systems and know that your apps are going to keep getting locked out of the other systems.
Well, good thing I only have the one Switch. Well, technically I have 2 Switches, but I have not turned it on. It's very, very, very battery dead. I don't even know if it'll turn back on. So thankfully I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that's just the way the licensing has to work with those. Even if you're downloading, I know it's attached to it, they still have to treat it as tied to your stuff. That's how it is on Xbox and PlayStation as well. You're still attached to that account, but because if you have the two systems, if they are synced up, then you can still grab it from the other ones as long as you can get online. But
The only
it's
difference
weird,
is
but it's there.
on
Yeah.
PlayStation or Xbox, I can sign on to any of the systems, and I don't have to do anything to do YouTube. I don't have to put my.
I mean, you can still go
systems
into the
closer
menu
together. I
and
don't have to do anything. All I need is internet, and it works.
that can still be done on the Switch. You can go into the options and just turn on where you want it to do the online check, and it'll still sign in online check and do all of its thing like it would.
I couldn't unless I was home with the other Switch, and I was and I had to be the primary console. So it was a mess.
I'm about to say it still works with that one. You just have to be able to sign online, but yeah.
It just yelled at me a lot, so I was like, "Thanks."
Oh.
I got it fixed, so and then I not loaned it, but I moved it over to my Switch I use YouTube on, which is upstairs. So.
Gotcha. All right. Chase, what about you? What you been doing?
Got a new game with Shinoa called Celasta. Crown of the Magister, I think is the subtitle. And it's an interesting game. I was actually not sure at first if I wanted to even buy it. Like I was pretty on the fence about it, but actually as I played it, I've actually enjoyed it. It's basically the best way to describe it is it's basically the what I call like the D&D OGL game. Like it's based off the D&D OGL official game license, but it's not. So it has all the D&D mechanics, so to speak, but it doesn't. But it's in its own setting. It's not in the actual D&D universe or whatever. It's its own story. But it's really fun. It's just grid based. Like when you go into combat, it's grid based. The co-op is pretty well done, actually. It's a pretty fun game. The only thing that is the graphics aren't necessarily that great. The character animations are kind of bad, but it's actually quite fun. The gameplay is fun, so I actually enjoy it.
Nice. So that was it?
Yep.
Light week.
Light week.
I'll have to look into that one. All right, Rachel, what about you? What you been doing?
Well, not a lot of gaming, I will tell you guys that. But what I have been up to is I'm actually adding another note here because I just remembered stuff that I got actually. So I listen to a lot of like Monster of the Week podcast. It's my favorite tabletop game. That's the one I have the most experience with. And I recently actually bought the game books for it. Yes, Stephen.
I just wanted to add that we did have our first trial with Monster of the Week. Christian tried it out on our group.
So. What did he think? What do you guys think? What do you think? Tell me.
I like it in a higher level than D&D because it's more about like the things you have to do and how you do it, and not like having to do too much number crunching because you take a hurt. You don't take you don't take like number damage. You take a hurt. So I really liked it because it kind of brought out our characters a lot better than it did in D&D, where we're going through kind of like the rule set, and then Monster of the Week we were allowed to kind of like embrace our characters, their quirks, our perks. I call them perks. I think they call them moves.
Yes, it's very much Monster of the Week is very much a fan of the players. Like it makes you more a fan of the people who are playing, and it makes them fans of themselves. And it gives it's more of a tool for storytelling than it is a crunchy tabletop RPG system. I'm very critical of D&D, mainly because I cannot get past the character creation system without having a panic attack, because my brain, the way that it works, I want to know everything. But every time I ask questions from any DM, GM, whatever they call themselves that I try to work with, I go, well, what is this? What is this? What do I need to know about this? Like blah, blah. And I asked a bunch of questions about, like, you know, data sets, or what the hell is this mean? What does that mean? And then their response almost always is, you don't need to worry about that. Me, the GM, does. Just pick the number. And I'm like, but how do I pick these things and make these decisions without understanding what this is?
Yeah, I did like that it was just more fast paced, so it kind of streamlined things.
Yeah, so it's a lot less crunchy, and that's why I like it.
So yeah, we enjoyed it, and he's gonna look into it more. He's still very new on it, so he's just like, he wants to still kind of work kind of like a beta with it. But we had a good first episode. So.
That's good. If you ever need more people, let me know. I'm always willing to hop in on games. Okay. So I'm all for it. But anyway, I did but what?
When he's comfortable.
Yes, when he's comfortable. I'm very much a player of tabletop RPGs, not necessarily like a GM. But I've heard a lot of different GMs. But at this point, I've been trying to get a local game going, and I'm slowly wearing down the local DMs that I know that have been looking for newer game systems, but they just haven't pulled the trigger yet because they're so entrenched in D&D.
Yeah.
So I'm getting to the point of the fine, I'll do it myself. So I bought the Monster of the Week core rulebook and the Tome of Mysteries. I did not get Codex of Worlds, but I should, because I know somebody who wrote things in that book. So that's next on my list to get. But also the Kickstarter, Rapscallion, which is a pirate tabletop RPG, which is based off of Powered by the Apocalypse system, which is the system that Monster of the Week was built off, which is Apocalypse World, which is another older tabletop RPG. But Rapscallion came in and it's pirates, and I'm reading through that one really slowly and learning about it, because I would like to play in a game of that or run a game, but probably play in one first before I run it. So I've got all those books now, and I'm just enjoying learning about them slowly. So
we did a Buffy the Vampire Slayer type scenario. So.
Yeah, a lot of them. There's a lot of the scenarios that you can do in Monster of the Week are like that. It's like, okay, there's a monster, you have to go kill it, or you have to find it a new home, and you can do it in campaign style, or you could do like 1 shots, 2 shots. It all depends on what your players would prefer. I like the idea of a whole campaign where it just keeps going until the end, but it just depends on how you want to do it. But I'm still reading House in the Cerulean Sea, also going to more books that I'm reading by TJ Klune. It is one of the most entertaining books that I have read in a while. It literally, one of the reviews that made me buy the book, that is in the front little page, is the most wholesome book to ever involve the Antichrist. Like, that's literally what it says. And I was just like, oh, this has to be good. And it's I can't really describe it other than guy who works for a government agency that's like the Department of Children and Families, goes to investigate an orphanage to make sure they're operating as they should, but all the kids are magical at the orphanage. So, but that's what this department does, is they make sure that these schools and these orphanages and these places are doing what they're supposed to be doing with these magical children. So yes, that's it. It's a book and it's fun. And I went thrifting today to help my friend Jonathan, because he's going on a cruise that leaves on Tuesday. And I think it's a Lindsay Sterling cruise, which I didn't even know that existed. So, but there's a pirate night. And so he's like, I don't have a pirate garb, and I know just the lady to help me. Me, the pirate lady that goes to all the Ren fairs. So we went to 2 thrift stores, and in 2 hours, I got him a very basic pirate outfit from just the thrift stores. I told him, you probably have to order your own boots on Amazon. I'd do that tonight if you want it to arrive before you leave on Tuesday. And I said, and he goes, well, what if they don't work? And I said, do you have some strappy men's sandals? And he goes, yes, I do. And I go, if that doesn't work, use that. And those pair of cotton linen slacks that we got you that tie at the front, just cut those off just below the knee, make them look tattered. You're good to go. And it works great with sandals. And he was like, how do you come up with this crap? And I said, I do costuming for fun. I used to do it for partially a living. So there we go. But while I was there helping him and finding things, we did manage to find a pirate hat at one of the thrift stores, which I was shocked. I'm still boggled that we managed to do this. And he got it for like $2, which was awesome. It was a really good hat with snaps and everything, a nice tricorn. I managed to find 2 records, like vinyl records, for $1. One was The Music Man, the original Broadway cast, and the other one was Dr. Dolittle with Rex Harrison. So I was very excited about that. And I tested them on my Victrola when I got home, and they sound great. So that's what I've been doing. Nothing really game related other than tabletop, which I could wax lyrical about tabletop RPGs. So don't get me too started.
Nice. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and move on from there, then move over to, I guess if you guys still want to do the group chat, or you guys already talked about your stuff.
News. I think we exhausted group chat.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah.
So we'll just jump right into the news then. Chase.
Jeremy.
I have to go straight to you, man. Gears of War Reloaded was announced for Xbox Series X, S, Xbox PC, Xbox Cloud Gaming, Steam, and PS5. Coming August 26, 2025 for $39.99. This is developed by the Coalition along with Sumo Digital and Disbelief. It's available for Game Pass Ultimate or PC Game Pass immediately.
I'm in disbelief this is happening.
Yeah.
I'm not.
The original Gears of War remastered and optimized for more platforms with full crossplay, cross progression across all the platforms, which does require a Microsoft account. But if you don't want to use one, you don't get cross progression, you don't get crossplay, but you don't have to have it to play. Which, I mean, that's a reasonable thing, I think, for if they're using their servers. If you own the digital edition of Gears of War Ultimate Edition, you will receive a free upgrade to this new version via a code they'll email out when it's owned. But you had to have owned the game digitally before the announcement. So that's already passed by the time we found out. Which Chase and I were both like, wait, what about if you own it physically? It's like, no, fuck you. Like, you just
get Game Pass, bitch.
Right? Oh my god!
Game Pass.
I wonder if you could have like emailed the like developers or whoever and been like, what if you own it physically? Sends a picture of the game in your hand.
Yeah, look this. Yeah, they don't care. I think I'm
sure they don't.
Of it. I mean, because a lot of people had it physically. I have the individual release, and then they had the release that came with Rare Replay on it.
Oh, wow.
Like, it's out there. But it's kind of a surprisingly big update. So the Ultimate Edition, what's included, it's 4K 60 FPS for campaign, 120 FPS for multiplayer, 4K assets, remaster textures, enhanced post-processing visual effects, improved shadows and reflections, super resolution with improved anti-aliasing, which is nice. No load screens during campaign. So those just go away. Just play straight through. No more bathroom or snack breaks for anybody.
Clips.
Right. HDR VRR support, Dolby Vision, and 7.1.4 Dolby Atmos, along with 7.1.4 3D spatial audio, which is kind of cool because I think we've talked about this before. I'm a huge fan of the audio in these games. Like, I love the audio effects of everything going on. So that's going to sound great. The weird thing is, and we don't know if this is North American, like it's going to happen in North America, but we know in Europe right now, PS5 and even PC are looking to get a physical release, but the Xbox is being left as digital only. And this came from the Spanish Twitter account of the game retailer Game, where they stated that while they have listings for PS5 and PC physical releases, they're not getting anything about an Xbox release beyond digital codes. So I don't know. It's kind of, Microsoft's been kind of weird about their own things recently.
How bizarre.
Yeah, something similar apparently has been happening with the Oblivion remake. even though they showed the game physically for Xbox, they won't say when or if it's going to actually come out here. So we'll have to wait and see. So Chase, you getting this one?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I kind of figured that.
Yeah, I guess there's a couple things that kind of I've been thinking about with it, because like, albeit that like definitely the changes look good, and I have no doubts that this is going to be a good looking thing. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, did this game really need to be remade again? Remastered, remade again? This is the third time now. This will be the third.
I mean, some people are saying, well, it's to introduce Xbox to it, or PlayStation people to it, or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's exactly.
And I like the visual enhancements. I didn't write it in here, but they did mention all of the extra content from Ultimate Edition is in this.
Yeah.
So the extra missions and all that carry over. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely, if anybody was ever wondering, because I think there was a big question mark on whether E-Day was coming to PS5, this pretty much says that it is. Like, and obviously, because this is how they're going to get people into it, because they're going to be like, hey, you want to know what like E-Day leads into? Here you go. And so like that's probably their way of trying to kind of suck people into it. I guess the thing that kind of is disappointing for me was that we were always getting the rumors of Gears of War getting like the Master Chief Collection treatment.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's still in the cards or if this is just whatever, but it's kind of like one's gotten 3 remasters now, but then like 2, which is arguably like
better.
Most people would argue that it's their favorite. You know, like a lot of people prefer 2 over 1 because it made some improvements. And so then 2 hasn't got anything, 3 hasn't got anything. And that was an amazing game.
Judgment exists.
Yeah. I mean, there's, so it's like, man, I appreciate what they're doing, but I kind of was hoping maybe that some of the other games could get some love in the series.
Because I think if they had just included Ultimate Enhanced like it was on the Series X, because it played in 4K and everything, but it was upscaled from the 1080p. But if they had done better enhancements to 2 and 3, I'm there with you. I think I would have paid full price for a nice bundle of those 3 as a new set.
Ultimate Edition isn't any slouch. Like, it's a good looking game.
How did you originally get it though? Did you get it with like Gears 4 or 5?
What do you mean? Ultimate?
How did you originally get the first Gears of War Ultimate Edition?
I got it just as the Ultimate Edition. It was before.
It was just a physical release.
Yeah.
Well, I remember there being another way to get it, and I'm trying to think because I know I played that version.
You could get it like when it first came out.
The original came out on 360.
The game originally came out on 360. Ultimate came out on Xbox One and included digital codes for 2, 3, and I think Judgment. And then they did release it again later in one of the bundles where you get it with Rare Replay included on the disc. And I think they gave it away for certain stuff digitally for a little bit, which is why I'm shocked I don't have it. Maybe I just thought, I've got the disc, I don't need it. Damn it.
I'm pretty sure I played it and I wouldn't have gotten rid of it because I collected them all. So I'm kind of confused of how I got it again, because you can't Google that anymore because it's talking about the new one.
Because you get the original one that came out in 2006, 2007. And then I think a year or 2 years later, they released it again on PC. And the only reason why that one was kind of like a substantial thing was because it had an extra chapter that the 360 version didn't have. Then Ultimate Edition came out, and the reason why that was a big deal was because now the console owners finally got that extra chapter that the PC
funny thing is,
people had.
That was still that golden era where the 360 was the better version than the PC one, because the consoles were still beating the crap out of PC for a while. So it's like, you get an extra chapter, but like your game doesn't run or look as good as what the 360 was doing. Those days are long gone.
Yeah. And then, so now the Ultimate Edition's now we're getting another remaster of it. like I'm excited because it's just another reason to play Gears. So I'll get it. I'll play it. I'll enjoy it for the millionth time.
Yeah, it's nowhere near as bad as Skyrim or The Last of Us. So they're getting close. They're working on it. This might be their version.
Yeah.
Nothing will ever get near Resident Evil 4 though. Good God, they've released that on everything. So Rachel, you gonna try Gears?
Why would I ever do that? I'll watch you
play
guys
games
play
with
it.
us.
Yes, but you guys need to play some things that I'm interested in.
Expand your horizons.
I
Kill
have
things with chainsaws.
No, I that's not my thing. I've played other things.
In like 2 years, we're gonna see Rachel walking around in like a Gears cosplay with the armor.
Absolutely not.
She could pull it off.
I probably could, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I want to. So the fact that I played Destiny at all when that game came out was expanding horizon enough for me.
You have to at least give them credit. The ladies' armor is not like bikinis and stuff. It's an actual armor that's armor. It's surprisingly well designed.
But as a Floridian that lives in the heat,
we'd die.
Bikini armor is not that bad.
Yeah.
That's the new headline for this show. Rachel defends bikini armor. So I'm going to name this episode. Oh, I got to clip that.
You do have to clip that.
Well, maybe we can convince you to play it on this next thing. So Xbox's Project Keenan handheld they're working with Asus on has apparently leaked. And a very fingerprint-covered photo that drives Rachel nuts.
It is absolutely, guys. You can probably look this up. Like, it's out there for sure.
It's on our Discord.
It's on our Discord, definitely. This console is covered in scratches, scuffs, dust, fingerprints. Whatever is going on with the speaker on the right hand side that has that one little yellow section. It's rough, and also it's on a cutting mat. Why is it on a cutting mat? That's what I want to know.
For scale? I don't know. They didn't have a banana?
On the cutting room floor.
Lord. So, this is basically a modified version of a Asus ROG Ally, the PC handheld they made recently. But it has an Xbox button on the left side that's been added to it. But beyond that, it's pretty close. It even
That's
has the
an
ROG
Xbox thing. It looked like a little, like the little red dot looking thing. That to me looked like a lollipop.
If you zoom in, it's the Xbox logo. This is a pre-production design. That's I mean, whoever took this photo did not have time to clean it. When you're doing espionage, you just take the damn photo.
He's probably gonna get whoever took it's gonna get his ass fired. Is what's gonna happen. But
they got to find him. I mean, that you can't get much off that fingerprint covered screen.
Well.
So we don't have a look at the interface yet, which is the biggest concern or question I have. So we don't know if this includes the rumored Windows update that Microsoft was thinking about doing to make Windows more portable, PC friendly, or controllable with a controller. And then my other thing I wanted to know is if there is that, will that software be available on other bits of handheld? Like, so can I have that for my Legion Go or something like that? Or do I have to get this Xbox handheld specifically, which would be weird because it's a root of Windows that they'd be running. Chase, I know you had some thoughts on this one. You were kind of looking at the design. What are you on this one for?
I guess I'm just kind of curious about it because I guess I'm kind of open to the idea depending on like how it works, how it plays. So just like oddly curious at the moment. But
I mean, yeah, because for now, like the handhelds I have now, the Xbox games play great on them. Like it's a great experience. It just sucks with the interface, like loading the game up. And the worst thing is having to check in online all the time. I can never get it to just let me play the damn things, which is why I never travel with my Legion Go anymore. Because what's the point? I'm on a plane. But I don't know. If Microsoft can make it simplified and have their own name plastered to it, that would be the one people would probably recommend, but then give the option for people that have their own hardware. So, Steven, would this be something you'd be interested in whatsoever? Or
if it's the same price as a PlayStation Portal, sure.
Yeah, but this is usable.
Wow.
So
Oh, wow.
It's going to have the same aspects of it, so I'm not too excited.
Well, I mean, this can play by itself. It's not streaming anything. A PlayStation Portal is useless unless you've got an internet connection and a PlayStation. Well, now you can stream some games directly, but this you can just play on. Like, it just has the games, and you could just crank it up and be playing Sea of Thieves or whatever else while you're running around.
Well,
I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, I mean, it's a ROG Ally, which is a portable computer. You can do that now.
No. I'm talking about Sea of Thieves is an online game.
It hasn't. Well, I mean, you can still be online, but like I just said that so you get interested.
You didn't
can
expect
still
me to
boot it
be
up.
critical. You can boot it
That's
up. You
fine.
can't do nothing.
What if it supports local Wi-Fi? You could play with a friend.
I mean, sure, probably all by yourself. Play safe.
I'm about to say safe harbors.
Well, you could play Safer Seas by yourself. Yeah. So there's that.
But yeah, this. I mean, they've already confirmed like the ROG Ally stuff is not a streaming device. It's actually a Windows PC and it's running the stuff. So that kind of makes it a lot different than the PlayStation Portal. So, all right, let's move on to the next little bit then. So Sony released the top selling games on PlayStation 5 for April, and they're all Xbox titles.
You know, it's
every
funny.
One of them.
It's funny. It's funny that it is. It is, and some people would say that's telling, but also people who who only have PlayStations and have only had PlayStations have been looking forward to playing these for a very long time. So of course, they're the top selling games on PS5 for April. Just saying.
Well, the funny thing is, I mean, it's Oblivion Remastered, Minecraft, and Forza Horizon 5 are the top three. Mm-hmm. Forza Horizon 5 alone is one that they were trying to compare with Gran Turismo, saying like it's a terrible game. It's on Xbox. You shouldn't play it. It's just bad. This is so much better. It comes out and it's just selling like crazy on there. And it's like, it's amazing how fast that changes. I mean, like, and I also see the arguments now where people are like, Starfield is so terrible. When are we getting Starfield? It's like, why do you want it so bad?
Only home now to Gran Turismo and Forza. Take that, Xbox.
Listen. Let me say something. If they put Lost Odyssey where it's accessible to me, I'll be happy. And that's the only thing I'm asking for.
Well,
I wouldn't hold your breath.
I know.
I still have that argument of like competition needs to exist and exclusivity for certain things needs to be part of that. You need people to buy into, getting a system.
I have been saying this for years in my line of work, and also for years when I worked for GameStop and for other places. When you create scarcity, you create value, and therefore that creates profit.
Nintendo's great at that.
I'm about to say, why are we all buying a Switch 2? Because those games are not going anywhere else. And it's the same argument. People are like, why buy a PS5? Because I can get Gran Turismo. Why buy an Xbox? So it gets kind of weird with that. And I know it's working well for them. They're making money, but I think we're still seeing signs of infighting between the division of Xbox and Microsoft itself are pushing for two different things. And I'm wondering when that's going to finally blow up. But hey, Sony's kind of growing. Let's talk about that. So Sony announces a new PlayStation studio called TeamLFG that will focus on yet another live service game after closing out other recent teams, canceling their live service games, Concord and laying off people. So this team may be working on the former Bungie project codenamed Gummy Bear. And then Sony's Herman Holtz stated in an announcement, TeamLFG originated at Bungie, but has also rallied developers from across the industry to bring to life an ambitious incubation project that I'm very excited about. The studio is now fully formed and ready to be introduced to the world.
I'm sorry. When I hear LFG, I think looking for group.
That's
that's
kind of what it is.
Or let's fucking go. Yeah.
Yeah. We've all been laid off. Let's fucking go.
We're going to be Team LFE after this, looking for employment.
Well,
so no names. Yeah, no names were given, but the team includes, quote, industry veterans who have worked on games like Destiny, Halo, League of Legends, Fortnite, Roblox, and Rec Room, along with newcomers with fresh creative perspectives and skills.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing with Sony, with their live service bullshit right now. If it doesn't immediately garner immediate, unmeasurable success, they deem it unsuccessful, even if it had some success, and they cancel it. The thing is they are constantly looking for lightning in a bottle where there is no storm clouds whatsoever. Sony, I love you. I love your consoles. I love the consoles. What are you doing?
I mean, the only live service game Sony can't seem to give up is making more live service games.
That's what I'm saying.
With every game being a new season pass, you're employed for that time being, and if you don't buy up, you're just fired. You'd go into the next season of a different developer.
Wait a minute. Does that mean that Sony themselves is a live service game?
One that seems to be failing at a lot of stuff.
Let's unpack that.
Oh man.
I'd actually be interested to like be like a fly on the wall in like one of these meetings or like these decision making processes, because obviously they have some degree of analytics or some like something that's telling them that this is still like a very like
No,
there's got to be some.
No, I don't think
There
there's
has
any
to be.
metric.
Why would they keep doing it?
No, I think they're looking at the data and going, that can't be right. We're gonna do whatever the hell we want.
I want to see the sales numbers. Oh, go ahead. I want to see the sales numbers in that region for cocaine and alcohol.
It's like saying the Warner Brothers CEO is looking at analytics. No, he's just doing whatever the fuck
he's doing what they're doing
I
whatever they want.
There's got to be something. Because I can't see them just saying like, oh yeah, we're just gonna like try this again, like without like there's, because I mean we live in this age now of data and analytics for everything, so there's got to be something that's like telling them that this is still a viable, profitable option.
Other than a quick profit, that's basically probably what they're looking at.
Maybe that's what they're looking for.
They're looking at a quick, continuous profit. For whatever
Sony,
live
quick
service
profit requires you to release the goddamn game.
Let me get this straight. So they saw the player count dropping in Black Ops 6, and they're like, time for a new live service game.
That's literally probably what they're doing. The moment they see like the numbers drop on somewhere, they put out another game, and then those numbers go up, and it's just constantly like this. I don't know. I'm just thinking they're just a bunch of dude bros in a boardroom. And then there's that that one meme. God, who was the name of the actor? But he's like, "You do whatever you like." That
all you're gonna hear is just live service. That's all you're going to get from them.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't have wipe. I needed to have a powdered donut just on my face. Oh, man.
It's just a bunch of dude bros. I don't know, man. I don't know.
To be fair, women could probably snort that much cocaine, too.
This episode should be marked as explicit.
Nah.
Rated M for microtransactions.
Yeah, we'll charge extra for it. I just noticed none of the games they talk about mention like Concord. So all the people that got laid off from Concord are probably like, "What the fuck, man? Like, I could be there."
Probably.
Oh God, come on, Sony, don't do this. This is
Xbox QA testers.
Yeah, this is why Xbox sold more games this month. They actually had games released on PlayStation. Oh, let's move on. That was great. All right, so good news in the Union world. After World of Warcraft team unionized last July, Overwatch 2 team at Blizzard has formed their own union. This includes nearly 200 developers across the board, from art to engineering to testing and more. The CWA, or Communications Workers of America, released a statement. Game developers behind Activision Blizzard's hit franchise Overwatch have joined the Communications Workers of America, becoming the latest group of video game workers at Microsoft-owned studios to form a wall-to-wall union. A neutral arbiter confirmed today that an overwhelming majority of workers have either signed a union authorization card or indicated that they wanted union representation via an online portal. So hopefully this will work out for them for some job security. I know some of the previous groups have kind of run into slow movements with Microsoft on occasion of trying to get their agreements made, because now they have to kind of do that work with Microsoft and get that plan worked out. But I mean, job security and development needs to be a thing, because right now they're just laying people off left and right. And there was more to the story. I was reading about it. They had some of the developers that were still at the Overwatch team that all of a sudden watch like core members of their group just get laid off overnight for stuff. And they were like realizing they could go at any moment. Like there's no security to it. So yeah, I mean, that's at least something. We got, a little bit extra there.
Hopefully the game will get better now.
Yeah. We'll talk about a little bit in the speed run, but they have kind of an interesting thing they're doing, but some people are arguing it's a little too Fortnite-y, but it looked neat. So we'll see. Well, not bad for, I still had fun with Fortnite this week, so it's still a fun game. It's gotten a little crazy, but whatever. All right, let's move on to our little bit Nintendo news. So Nintendo updated the end user license agreement, the EULA, for those of you, warning by stating, quote, "You acknowledge that if you fail to comply with the foregoing restrictions," mind you, this is the end of their whole thing, "Nintendo may render the Nintendo account services and or the applicable Nintendo device permanently unusable in whole or part.
Except or your system will die."
Kinda. And we're going to talk about this in the big question this week too. It also states that when an error occurs, they collect information about the error, the time it occurred, the application or features being used, the state of the application when the error occurred, and any communications or content provided at the time the error occurred. So basically, if you have hacked your system or modded your system and there's an error, the system records it and will send that in. It will notate if that code has been modified, if there are other components that it finds, things like that. It also states, with your consent and to enforce our terms, we may also monitor and record your video and audio interactions with other users. Which some people were kind of freaking out, going like, Nintendo's going to be spying on you. And I was like, so this has been a thing on PlayStation and Xbox for a long time with voice chat. They may not have a person listening all the time, but they usually have like an AI or something paying attention. Go ahead, Steven.
They did clarify that for game chat with Switch 2, it is stored locally, but if you report somebody, then they will pull that data, that video, that audio to get why you reported that. They also, they also put in there, that they can just remotely brick your system, which is nice. And if you have any issues with your Joy-Cons, call customer service now.
Yeah, I meant to add that in here because I know what you're talking about. They also included a thing where you can't, and there's a lot of companies doing this, and I hate this, where you can't, what was the group lawsuit? Help me out here. I forgot the name.
Class action?
Class action. Thank you. You don't do a class action lawsuit. You have to go through a mediator or through customer service for these things.
That's so bullshit.
And it's not just Nintendo. I don't like it, but I think Microsoft and Sony have you doing that now also.
Sony did it after they got hacked because they're like, don't sue us because we got hacked ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they can't just say that you can't sue them.
Like, a lot of games, if like whenever you pass by where it's like agree to this, they'll have in there like you won't sue them. You'll agree to like a moderator, or you'll go through certain steps and things like that. Like I agree, it's legalese bullshit, and
because Disney tried to do the same thing, and they got sued anyway.
Right?
Because you can't take away somebody's right to do something. Like that's just
correct.
You haven't been in America in a while.
Well, I'm just saying, like you can't sign away your rights. Like that's just, I think what that is, though, is a lot of companies just assume a lot of companies assume people are really stupid, and they're right. And that people just will like be like, oh, EULA says that I can't do that now, so I guess I can't. And you'd be surprised how much stuff they get away with just from people not knowing what they can or can't do.
Agreed. And And that's the one thing you're going to find on any company at this point. If they can try and do it, they will try and do it.
Oh yeah, if they could fuck you over in their benefit, they will.
100%. So, yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a bit.
Don't idolize companies.
Oh man, I know it's a complete side thing, but there's a whole Stephen King thing going on right now. It's been hilariously messed up, but whatever.
Nintendo can say anything they want, and I'll be like, "You got it."
Let's move on to the speedrun. So speaking of Overwatch 2, we're now getting an Overwatch 2 cross Street Fighter 6 skins announced coming out May 20th. Characters shown in a nice animated trailer, but the only actual model shown at the very end is Ryu, which does look pretty good, but everything else is cartoon animation. But Ryu will be Hanzo, Chun-Li will be Juno, Cammy will be Widowmaker, Yuri will be Kiriko, and Guile will be Soldier 76, M. Bison is Sigma, Blanca is Winston, and... Say what?
I said that's the only one that really fits.
And Dawson will be Zenyatta. That one fits. I liked how he looked. It does kind of fit the design.
Dawson, Soldier 76, and Winston.
I don't know if I would call that animated trailer nicely animated because it looks like it was done like.
Well, it's the art style they use for Overwatch. I mean, it looks like a lot of their stuff.
San Diego had more animation for him.
I think it was well done because it's the art style of what it is. I think that's kind of how all their animations for a lot of those have been designed. So it's just sticking to theme.
It reminded me of GamePro magazine.
I'd say it played smoothly for me. It looked good. Next up, we have Grand Theft Auto 6 Trailer 2 was released after they announced the delay to 2026. Highest views so far on this one.
In history, yep. It's now got the highest number of... For something that supposedly has some gameplay in there, which I don't believe one bit.
Yeah, they say it was all recorded on a standard PlayStation 5. So
we'll a mix of cutscenes and gameplay. I'm like, well, if I can't tell, then you're lying.
Yeah, we're not sure on that one. We did get little hints that at some of the stuff we had talked about, Rachel, about certain areas. They did not show any kind of amusement park or anything as we had hoped so far. We did get to see the Florida Keys area, which looks like they will have a bridge down there. A lot of stuff around Vice City, which we knew Vice City was going to be returning.
Including the absolute dangerous traffic on all interstates in southern and central Florida. You're welcome.
Yep. They did show alligators, so we know those are going to be there.
There's airboats.
Airboats, yes.
I hope we can get on a canoe.
There was some other areas that were not shown on the trailer, but were shown on screenshots on their website. So we'll have to wait and see. We've got a year before this thing comes out, so we'll see. Next up, the Switch 2 Joy-Cons apparently have a removable plastic side piece that some companies are selling colored replacements for, but we have no word if this is any kind of official modification. I think it's just a plastic piece that covers where the screws are, and they found out they could pop it off and replace it with different colored components. So great, but I don't know. You can't change the color of the magnet side or under the stick, so you're still going to have those primary colors on there no matter what. So who knows? Elden Ring Tarnished Edition for Switch 2 will have new classes, unlockable armor, and enable modification for your Spectral Steed Torrent. But this content will come to other systems as a separate DLC as the Tarnished Pack for previous players on other hardware. Xbox developer Mojang has announced that they will finally drop support for Minecraft VR. There are some workarounds for PC versions for players to mod and do, but direct support is no longer there and it won't be worked on anymore. This also apparently will affect the Minecraft VR version for PlayStation 4, because I guess that's going to be dropping support too. Yeah, I tried buying that one and the PlayStation account messed it up and wouldn't let me play, so I just returned it. Another team that died has come back from the dead, just like we had with Game Informer and them. The team from Giant Bomb just announced at PAX East earlier today that after the closure of Polygon, they have become their own owners. So they have purchased the rights to their own stuff and started up a paid service to help cover the costs as they work to continue their content of $10 a month or $100 a year. So I know some people are hit and miss about Giant Bomb and their podcasts and other stuff, but I'm glad to see them survive.
I don't even know what Giant Bomb is.
It's a pretty big podcasting group around gaming stuff. Like we've gotten a lot of our news with some of the stuff they cover, Jeff Gershman and them.
I'm sure that they have, but like,
not everyone's going to know about all of them.
I need something to associate them with because I'm just like, I've heard the thing before, but I don't actually know who they are. So
they got some good stuff. But
they mostly live in my eyes as GIFs. So
yeah, GIFs.
Okay, GIFs.
I don't know what GIFs are, but GIFs, yeah.
So I think we're going to kick Steven off.
This next bit of news, though.
Yep. So French-Canadian entrepreneur Steven Tretalt has purchased GameStop Canada and is bringing it back as EB Games Canada.
You know what? Good for you.
Yeah, and they're actually purposely putting it back how GameStop used to be, with a focus on in-store events, midnight launches, and kind of more of a gaming focused vibe for a lot of it, instead of focusing on toys and all the other stuff.
You know what?
Canada maybe getting GameStop again.
You know what? Maybe there will be some learning from that. Maybe. I'm going to remain hopeful.
We don't learn shit here, sadly. So.
Well, I mean...
Go ahead, Steven.
I did want to add one little quick bit of news.
Yeah, go for it.
Nintendo had to comment on was they eagle-eyed viewers were looking through the Mario Kart World trailers and assets and stuff, and they accused Nintendo of using AI to make their billboards because, as they said, things don't look right. So Nintendo came out and said, we did not use AI on our games. We did not use AI on Mario Kart World. Like, we don't use AI on our games.
I wonder if it's scaling artifacts because they're using some of the upscale stuff.
They just used assets and put them on billboards. That's how they looked. A lot of them were just like preliminary assets that they just threw on there, so they probably weren't touched up or finished, or they were just
like considered the game is not like, you know, it at the time that trailer was made and rendered and designed, likely the game was unfinished.
So they're just like, they're like, whether that stays the same, it's still not AI. We didn't use AI. People are now like, if something doesn't look right, they automatically think it's AI, even if the company says they've never used it. So
I think a lot of people are jumping the gun on it.
Having to come out and say, no.
Well, Nintendo's been pretty vocal about the fact they don't want to use AI. They don't believe it's a functioning thing, that they want to use their artists and everything, which is good. But I think a lot of people, like you said, they see anything that they remotely think could be weird, which could just be an odd camera angle. Like a lot of us that do photography, you can take a weird photo and have it look not right. Or if the sun is just in the right spot, something will look like it's not supposed to be there and it's photoshopped in, but it's just the lighting.
When you speaking of that really quick, when you play Expedition 33 and you get to the overworld, a lot of people have pointed out that that's not a re-rendering or anything. That's tilt photography. All they did was
tilt shift photography.
They just tilt shifted it so everything looks like toys and stuff.
I love tilt shift
because they blur certain things like foregrounds and backgrounds. Everybody's like, that's tilt shift photography. So everybody was pointing that out, and that was neat.
I thought that was I noticed that. I was like, oh, they did the thing where everything looks kind of a toy-y and claymation, and I didn't know the word for it at the time that I was describing it.
Yeah, I could go. So, Steven, I think you just convinced me to order that tonight. I wanted to order it anyways because I'm trying to get the Xbox version.
It's hard to come by right now, so
yeah, it's really good. So if you can find it, nab it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think GameStop had it for Xbox at least, but everywhere else was running out.
Ours got a single copy, and it was the only pre-order, and that was it. Everything else, like they just got a PlayStation one in recently, but I'm like, I want it on Xbox if I can.
When I picked it up from my local Best Buy, they literally were like, you were one of like 4 people who pre-ordered this for here. And I was like...
And now you're one of 2 million who bought it.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, let's go over to the big question.
Oh, boy.
So this was a fun one I thought of earlier that I wanted to kind of discuss. It's not so much a question, but kind of looking at it. But if a company, be it Nintendo with their recent announcement or Sony and Microsoft with their previous occurrences, releases a firmware update, new feature, or other change that possibly could brick or damage a console because of modified hardware or software, is that the responsibility of the manufacturer to prevent and or repair? Or is it a risk the modifier or purchaser of modified hardware should assume as their own? Now, to preface why I asked this. I saw some of the discussions today around the Nintendo announcement of bricking hardware and looked back at some of the previous stuff. And I was kind of shocked at the amount of people that were blaming Nintendo that they should just let them do these things, that if you own the hardware, you should be able to modify it however you want. And if they do anything that messes up after you've modified it, they should fix it, replace it. Like it was getting crazy, but I wanted us to discuss it. So
I have some thoughts on this for sure.
Okay. Rachel, why don't you start us off then? Go for it.
One. If you have bought a console, the console is yours. You spent the money on it. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is your right to do with the console whatever it is as you wish. However, the software on said console it's not the like the operating system that you get updates on and all of that. That's yours, but it's not yours at the same time. So if you've done something to it that like completely voids all of that, and it's a newer console, it's stuff that's still receiving active updates, that's on you, buddy. That's on you. I'm sorry to say that's on you. That's how it works. But if you've got like an older console, like say you have a console that's no longer supported, it's no longer connected to the internet, there's nothing going on with it, there's no new updates out for it, you do whatever you like to that console. You do whatever you want to do to it, whatever. It's not going to be affected. Those are the consoles that you should mod. Now, if you have enough money in the bank and fun money to play with, you can do whatever you do what you like to the new consoles too. Be it on your own head, because it might be bricked eventually. This is a company, a manufacturer, developer. This is their way of protecting their product from people that do those things to their consoles. Which is why I have always said to people, if you are going to mod a console that's been out for a long time that is no longer supported, because it's safer to do so with less legal repercussions. So it's be it at your own risk. That's where I'm at. You want to mod an older console? Fine. That's okay. You can usually fix that, because you could just yeet the entire operating system off, yeet the a different modded version of an operating system onto it, and be usually perfectly fine. Newer stuff, you don't have that accessibility. So I always tell people to be careful. So it's your responsibility.
Okay. Steven, what about you?
I think there's that little sticker on the back of my Xbox 360 that says void if sticker is removed, because it breaks into two once you've opened it up. There's systems that once you've put a screw hole in it, or when you take a sticker off, you see all those voids and you're just like, what have I done? You have now decided to take things into your own hand. They can't take something that's been modified and just be like, we don't know what you did to this, so it's not our problem. We don't know if you put a ticking time bomb in it, for all we know. So no, we're not going to touch it. It's, for me, it's just, it's common sense. I think a lot of these people, let me give you like a morbid situation. So let's say I'm the Tin Man in the Wizard of Oz, and they're telling me they have this body safe paint they can use all over me. And it'll look great.
I know where this is going.
And it can look great, but I decide but it's cheaper, and I'll get a kickback if I use asbestos to make myself all silver. So I decide to use asbestos, and suddenly my body breaks out because that wasn't tested. Guess who's responsible? The person who decided to ignore the person who had done the research, and the person who's like, we are here for you, and decided to go off on their own. When you go off on your own, you assume the risk. It happens in so many different things.
That's how it works.
It's just so many different things that if you even decide to, I don't know, modify a gun and it explodes in your hand, you're not going to be like, damn it, Smith & Wesson, this is all your fault. I didn't know I couldn't add sugar powder and orange juice to make stronger bullets. You didn't say I couldn't. It's just, you always assume the risk when you do things like that. You know,
Chase,
when you
the
try
look
to
on your
shoot
face, I
something
can tell
up-
if you're confused. You're like sugar punch or what the hell?
when you try to overclock things, you're not using it for its intended purpose. So overclocking, modifying, basically, if you're what's his name, Hank, who makes all those like portable systems. I made a portable GameCube or something like that. Well, if they
Oh, that guy's
updated it and suddenly
good.
it wouldn't work, like that's your problem.
Yeah. Okay. Chase, what about you?
I was hoping I was going to go last on this one.
I can go next if you want me to. I got an answer too.
Yeah, I mean, if you got something, because like I guess I've just got a couple questions, so I want to hear your side of it first.
No, that's perfectly fine. So, like I said, I was looking at the conversation for this, and it intrigued me because, as we've said before, I'm an electronics engineer. I love saying that, and I modify systems all the time. I have modified DSIs, 3DSs, GameCubes, Wii's, PS2s, Wii U's. I tried messing around with an old Switch just to see what I could do with it. Original, Xboxes. I'm testing out a 360, just whatever I can get my hands on. But I know when I start doing any of this, if something goes wrong, Rachel's right. It's my ass on that. I'm paying for that. I take the risk on it. Before I continue, Stephen, what'd you want?
I just wanted to say, like, Nintendo should have told me how much solder I can use on their system.
Oh God, I still got to get to that.
And I think it's their fault, and they should buy me a Switch 2.
I say we need to do that stream before the Switch 2 comes out. That should be our end of Switch life celebratory. What the shit did you do, Steven?
The life
stream.
and death of.
Yeah, we're gonna need a young priest and an old priest. Oh God, Rachel, we're gonna need you there as witness for the execution. I'm afraid of what he has done. This is gonna be great.
Oh boy.
So, but Steven understood that was his fuck up with all that solder. Nintendo's not going to fix it. They're going to look at that and go, just send him another one. We'll just pay him, charge him for it. Throw this thing out. We're done.
Yuck it right in the garbage.
So, people were saying that Nintendo bricked it. They're not just bricking it randomly. They're not going, you suck, we're shutting you down. They're not pulling an Elon on Teslas when he has a bad day. Shutting people's stuff down remotely. This is Nintendo sending out code that they have tested on their systems. And if it does not work correctly with your modifications or your software, it can stop it from working. That's just inherently what it can do. So it can shut it down. Now, the most recent update that just came out, the 20.0.0 or 0.1 hot patch that they put out, did brick a very small percentage of systems. It caused an error because just like any manufacturing, there can be little variants or things can happen, and they are happily trying to fix those. People can send them in, they're repairing them, sending them back, or they're trying to walk them through how to update the code themselves to do it. Nintendo's taking responsibility for that because it is a legit issue that happened. They were like, hey, we did the update. Your hardware had this one little quirk and something happened to it. We will fix it. They're perfectly fine with that. No problem. So, I get, and I agree that older systems should be modifiable. They should be backed up because that is a means of preservation and for updating hardware beyond its actual life. PlayStation 1 discs are starting to break down. Sega CD discs are starting to break down in certain cases. So optical disk drive emulators inside the original hardware is a means to continue using that system, to do these things to preserve it well beyond its physical life. Same thing with FPGA systems and things like that. There is a purpose for it. But if it's new and actively supported, it's going to be changing. You can't just change it and expect you should be able to do that freely. What was it? PlayStation 4, I think even early PlayStation 5s, like they would find a way to break a certain update and you would have to leave your system on that update. You could never update it again if you wanted to keep using the exploit. And Sony even started putting the updates on the disc. So if you even tried to play one of these games, it would force it into an update, which could brick your system if you did something. So this is not a new thing. This has been going on for a while. So yeah. Chase, did I buy you enough time?
Yeah. I just kind of wanted to see where this was going. So yeah,
no, that's fine.
I think that Yeah, I think that if you say I buy a console or whatever, if I decide to modify it in any way, like that's, yeah, I bought it. I have a right to modify it. I own the fucking thing. Like, but at the end of the day, then like the company has the right to say, well, we're not going to work on this, or we're not going to help you. You've done something to it, and that's it. It's no different than the automotive industry for the last like how many decades. Like, if you buy a car, yeah, you can put a new exhaust system on it, but you void the warranty when you put the new exhaust on it, or if you add this new infotainment system into it, or if you do X number of aftermarket mods to it, you're voiding the warranty.
Hold of your car.
Yeah, it's
your ride.
Yeah, you're voiding. So what do people do? People modify old cars.
Mm-hmm.
That's
they're already out of warranty, anyways.
Yeah, so I think that. Yeah, I don't think that the manufacturers or anything are like, if you modify something, they don't have to fix it, or I don't think that's right. Now, I guess where the question was though is if like all of us, if a console manufacturer noticed that you modded it, say they pulled some data, noticed that you modded it, and then they just decided to say, oh, fuck this guy or something, I think I would maybe have a bit of a question in that.
That's not new though. Remember, for a while there was an issue with original Xboxes and 360s where people would try and cheat or modify stuff and then connect to Xbox Live. The system would recognize it, and that system would be hardware banned from ever accessing the network. And people would then try and sell the system off, not telling them, oh, well, it's not able to be on here, or this doesn't work. Nintendo did it before with like R4 cards. It could detect those sometimes, and it would just be like, nope, we're shutting you down.
So I don't necessarily have a problem with it being like hardware banned in the sense that you can't connect onto Xbox Live. I'm meaning more like if they could actually just brick your console so you can't even like play games anymore or anything like that is what I meant, I guess, by that. But yeah, banning it, because I'm assuming you're talking about like Cronus Maxes and like, controller mods and stuff like that.
Yeah, there was that. There was some other stuff back in the day too. That's just the first one that comes to mind, because people would then try and trade in or sell the consoles. Yeah. People wouldn't check it. Someone would buy it pre-owned and find out, oh, it doesn't connect to Xbox Live because this system was banned for life. Like, it can't be on there. And they just moved on to another piece of hardware. I just remember that one.
Yeah, I think it's rare that a company is just going to like see something and be like, "Fuck that guy" in particular.
Yeah,
I
mean, it has the button. So.
I think when one or two people do it, it's just like, yeah, whatever. But when there's websites devoted to it, then Nintendo's like,
yeah, I have a problem with you. I have a problem with people robbing the bank, bragging about how they robbed the bank, and then getting in trouble for robbing the bank. I do have a bit of a problem with that. It's like, if you're gonna rob the bank, maybe shut the fuck up and just enjoy the fact that you got away with it.
That's what everybody said when all these websites got taken down. They were like, shut up. Stop showing off that you have Tears of the Kingdom early. Stop showing off that you put Goku in Smash Brothers. Stop doing it.
Yeah, that, you know what? This argument can be applied to so many things. Like, if you have figured out how to do something really cool, everyone's like, well, I feel like it's my like obligation as a human being to share it with the world. And I go, no, it's not. You literally use it for yourself, your closest friends, and your closest family, and you tell them, "I will end your life if you share this."
Wow.
Like, and murder. What I mean by end your life, not actual like murder, but I mean like socially end your life, like that kind of.
Because that's so much better.
Exactly.
I will block you.
Rachel supports cancel
instead of concrete blocks on feet at the bottom of the lake. It's just blocked from socials.
Like, it can be applied to so many different things. Like, if you figured something out that's really cool, keep it to yourself. My God. Because guess what? The whole world, greedy. is so greedy. So keep it to yourself. Like I keep telling people, mind your damn business. Like, worry about yourselves. Help your friends. Leave everyone else alone.
Remember, everybody, this is how we got passwords needed for everyone instead of just sharing our streaming services. People kept bragging that they shared their streaming services until HBO and everybody else was like, really? Well, then we're going to shut that down.
Yeah, because I mean, sometimes there are legit uses for those of sharing stuff like that, but you've ruined it for everybody else with all that stuff. Like
that wasn't in their terms and conditions. Now it is.
But my almost 90-year-old grandmother just wants to watch some stuff while she chills out. Let me pay for it. Come on. Like family plans. It's fuck off. So yeah, thankfully that still works, and we'll just not talk about that. All right. Well, I think that was a pretty good discussion for that. It was such a weird thing because I was worried. I was like, man, I can't think of a big question this week. And I saw that discussion and went, what the shit? Like, why are these people saying this? So I wanted y'all's opinion. I got it. It was great. So, all right, let's close that out then. All right. So we went through tonight's show pretty quick, which is good. But so you can find the podcast in the audio form wherever you listen to your shows, and the video version over on YouTube at our channel, Zenspath COM. Both can easily be found over on zenspath.com/podcast as well. Leave us a review if you can to help us grow. Like, share the show with others. Leave us a comment on YouTube. Tell us how you feel about the show. Maybe answer the big question. Let us know. Whose responsibility do you feel if you've modified a system, if firmware bricks it or something happens? Is that on the company to fix, or is that on your own ass for doing it? You can talk to us directly over on our Discord as the easiest way to find us and chat with the latest news and happenings, with the link for the Discord server being bit.ly, that's bit.ly/Zenspath Discord. That's the easiest way to find us. All right. Well, I have once again been joined by Rachel, Chase, and Steven, and I've been Jeremy. This has been episode 172 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network Podcast, and we're out. Peace.
EULA.
Adios, amigos.
If you modify the audio, this show is void.